If you are learning Danish, you'd better watch this video. This is a true statement, but I also said it in order to look at the word better. How would you pronounce the word better? You might say better, or you might say better, if you're British, for example. So, this happens a lot in Danish, that we have a T which turns into a D in the pronunciation. It also happens with K becoming G and with P becoming B. In this video, we will look at different scenarios, different rules as to when this happens in the Danish language. Very important stuff. Welcome to Mixed Languages. I am Mik. I have been working as a professional language teacher for almost 10 years. And in this video, we are going to look at Danish pronunciation. Very basic, very important feature of Danish pronunciation. So what I already talked about in the intro is T turning into D, K turning into G, and P turning into B. And let's start out by agreeing on terminology here, or let me say what I want to use for terminology in this video, which is strong sounds and weak sounds. The strong sounds, because the rules are the same for K, P, and T, so the strong sounds are K, P, T. The weak sounds are G, B, D. Alright? And this G, B, D, the weak sound, as I call it, happens a lot. It happens way more than half of the time when we have these letters. So we're going to look at the basic rules for when this happens in this video. Let's start out with rule number 1. In the beginning of a word, it's always a strong sound. This idea is very easy to understand. Let's take an example. Cat. Cat, which is cat in English, right? Cat. Here it can only be a K, because it starts with a K, it could never be a G. Cat. But if we look at cat at the T in the end, we actually say it as a D in Danish. We don't say cat, cat, right? We say cat. That's a D sound. So every time you have these consonants in question, in the end of a word, you have it as a weak sound, which is D if it's a T, and which is B if it's a P, and which is G if it's a K. Okay? Here in this case, cat with a D sound. K-A-D. Rule number 2. In the beginning of a stressed syllable, we have strong sounds. So let's look at these two words. Written the same way, spelled the same way, but two totally different pronunciations. Parker, parker. Parker, parker. This one is the plural form of park, which is a park, like green area in English. En park, to parker, parker. And this one is the imperative form, the order form, park your car here, for example. Parker din bil her. Parker, parker. You might already hear that in this word, I say a G, parker, and in this word, I say a K, parker. And I already mentioned the rule is very simple. We have to look at the stress of the syllables. Which of these syllables in the word is stressed? We have two syllables in both cases, pa and ka. And in the first word, parker, there is stress on which syllable? Can you hear it? Which syllable has the stress here? Pa. And in the second word, parker, which one has the stress? Keer. So the rule says, the K is in the beginning, is the first letter of a stressed syllable, keer. So we have a strong sound K. In this case, parker, we do not have that. The K is in the beginning of a non-stressed syllable, so we have a G sound, parker. Let me give you some other examples for you to understand it. Gruppe, gruppering. Gruppe, gruppering, right? Where is the stress in gruppering? It's on P, the syllable P. Gruppering, pairing. And it doesn't make a difference if there's one of two P's for this rule to work, right? Even with two P's here, we have the same idea. Strong sound, P sound, because we have stress on the syllable that starts with P, P. Whereas Gruppe has stress on Gru and not on P, so we have a B sound. Another example with T now. Sorter, sorter. Sorter, sorter. Right? Plural of sort, as apple sort, for example. Sorter. And again, the imperative form of sort your belongings. Sort them, like put them in order. Sorter. Right? So again, sorter does not have the syllable starting with T stressed, but sorter does. So sorter has a T sound, sorter has a D sound. Rule number 3. Prefixes do not count. Prefixes do not count. So a prefix, for example in English we have the prefix excuse me, X is a prefix. And in Danish, if we have a word starting with a prefix, then it doesn't count, which means we consider the word starting after the prefix. So we have a strong sound. For example, imponere. Imponere, right? The stress in this word is on nea. Imponere, right? So it is not on po. So in theory, we would have to have a weak sound because po is not a stressed syllable. But im is a prefix, so we consider, at least for this rule of the P versus B, we consider the word to start after the prefix. So we have a strong sound ponere, imponere. Rule number 4. This is actually not a rule, but it's a whole group of words. It's loanwords. Loanwords, words from other languages. And here it already gets quite a bit more difficult because there are no clear rules for all loanwords. We have to look at different groups of words. So I'll show a few of them here and show you if it's a weak or a strong sound or if it can be both. Let's start with the words that end in a vowel. Words ending in a vowel. If the loanword ends in A or I or O or U, then we have a strong K, P or T before it. Let me give you some examples here. Data. So right, data has a stress on the first syllable. So according to our rule number 2, it should not have a T sound because the ta syllable is not stressed. So it should be a D sound, data, but that's wrong. It's correct in English actually to say data, at least in many English-speaking countries. But here, data is the only viable option in Danish. That is because the word ends in an A, T-A, so we have ta. Risiko, risiko, stress is on the ri, but still we have a K sound in the last syllable because it ends in, it's a loan word ending in an O. Ko, risiko. Netto, netto, there is a supermarket chain in Denmark called Netto, and it is not netto. It is not netto, it's always netto because it ends in an O, T-O, netto. Now let's look at photo versus fotografi. So photo, right? Photo is with a T because it ends in an O. Photo. Fotografi is with a D. Fotografi. Because this syllable is not in the end, right? The to. So fotografi. And if we say fotografi, it's not incorrect. It's also right to say fotografi. But most people nowadays would say fotografi with a D sound. Fotografi. And let's quickly look at words ending in E or E in Danish. They are normally Danish words and not loan words, so they follow the normal rules that we have already talked about, rule 1 and 2. For example, flaske, 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 or pakke, pakke. Flaske meaning bottle, pakke meaning package, for example. Flaske, pakke, right? Stress is on the first syllable, not on the syllable that ends in the E and that has a K in both cases. Flaske, pakke. So we have G sounds. And now let's look at the word siesta. Siesta. The Spanish word siesta. That has a D sound in the T. Siesta. And why is that? Because it ends in an A and it kind of should have a T, right? Siesta. But it doesn't. Because actually the syllable here, the last syllable, is not TA, it's STA. And whenever we have ST in Danish, it is said as SD. Sta. Sta. Siesta. Siesta. And next group of words, words ending in isk. Isk. A lot of loanwords ending in isk in Danish. And these words, normally you can choose a weak or a strong sound. Weak sound would be more modern and strong sound would be more old-fashioned. For example, the word Tyrkisk, Turkish, right? Tyrkisk. I would say it with a G and most Danes would nowadays, but you could also say Tyrkisk, it's not wrong. And the same with tropisk, tropisk. Or you could also say tropisk, tropisk, but normally you would say tropisk. Next group of words, words ending in sjon, sjon. In English we have, for example, communication, right? Stress is on the penultimate syllable, K in this case, communication. In Danish, in these words ending in sjon, the stress is always on the sjon part, sjon. And looking at the syllable before it, that's what we're looking at here. So let's look at this word, vegetation, vegetation. Here we have to have a T sound. We cannot say vegetation. It has to be vegetation. And if we look at the word kommunikation, we can also say kommunikation. We can say it with a K or a G sound. Kommunikation would be most normal. Kommunikation. So what's the rule here? There is actually a clear rule here which works. I've looked at many words that end in sjon and this rule always works. If you have up to 4 syllables, like vegetation has 4 syllables, then it has to be a strong sound. Ta, ka, pa. And if you have a word that has 5 or more syllables, you can choose if you want to take a weak sound or a strong sound. Kommunikation, kommunikation. I have actually written an article about this topic, about this PBTD, the whole topic of this video. If you want to read about this topic and read about more groups of loanwords than I have mentioned in this video, have a look at the article. I have put the link in the description box below the video. Let's just take one more loanword group, an important one. In English you would say motor, motor. You could say motor if you're American at least. You could also say motor. In Danish you would say motor, motor. So we would always say this T-O-R with a strong sound, with a T sound actually. Motor. Great. That was it. This is a very important topic. It's not like people won't understand you if you do it wrong, but it's a crucial part of the Danish pronunciation system. So I would recommend you to watch this video again to understand it totally if you haven't understood it yet, and to look at my article and pronounce these words that I have put there. Try to pronounce them on your own and make this something that is just obvious to you, that's normal to you, that you just understand, and you don't need to think about it anymore because you have pronounced a lot of words and it just comes naturally. That's the way we learn, right? Most Danes would not know about these rules. I have just spent a lot of time actually to find these rules. I have never found them anywhere. I've never seen them anywhere. Maybe there's somebody out there, one of you, who knows about other places, other people writing about this topic. I would like to read it. I would be interested in reading what other people say about it. So, important topic. I hope this video brought you something important for your Danish journey. Give it a like if you think this video is worth it. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And of course, watch my other videos on Danish. A lot of them are good, I would say. I do my best at least. So, thanks for watching. Tak for nu. Vi ses.